DarkLightEnergetics Channel is a project to explore the vast variety of topics about spirituality, psychology, and social topics as well. If you wish to support this effort, consider becoming a sponsor on Patreon or make a one-time contribution through PayPal. Your support will help us improve the quality, length, and number of topics covered in our videos. Do check out the links in the description below. And to become our channel sponsors, email us at info.darklightenergetics@gmail.com. Do like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much and enjoy the video.
So I guess we're ready to talk about the soulmate myths now.
Oh, yes. Soulmates. Oh, my God. Let's go for that. Or rather, twin flames. Right? Mm-hmm. What do you think, Mary? What do you think? What do you think about that topic? Soulmates.
And I have heard so much. Really, the thing that I've heard that makes the most sense out of everything I've heard is that we are our own twin flame. That's the thing that I've heard that makes the most sense. Do I fully believe it? I'm not sure. But it's not really that important to me, like in my consciousness, whether I believe it or not. Like, I don't dwell on this twin flame business. I really don't. But it fascinates me because there is just so much out there about it. And like, people are just so obsessed with this idea of, I've heard it, twin flame. I've even heard somebody say it's your true genetic equal. Now that I think is creepy. Like, that creeped me out.
Well, that's like, right. But yeah, there's a lot of things about twin flames and soulmates. So I like to put it in this thing. When people say soulmates, so when you say mate, so mate as a definition, you can say mate as a friend, right? Like, it's like friend or your buddy, all right? So in that sense, it's okay. But if you call soulmate as in terms of mating, soul doesn't need mating. Soul doesn't need
right.
Right?
Exactly.
Soul doesn't need any of those things. But yes, there is one thing which is known as merging of the souls, all right, which is a different topic altogether. It falls under astral traveling and all those other topics. When we say merging of the soul, what it really means is merging of consciousness. And that happens with very few people, which again boils down to the same thing which we discussed earlier on the call about the Akashic records. So there are some beings with whom you merge, and technically speaking, whoever you deal with day in and day out, you do share some part of them with you, and you share your part of yourself with them in terms of consciousness, right? But then there are some beings or some people who you really, really feel connected, as if you know them since a very long time. And of course, it has to be two ways. It's never one way, yeah? So yeah. People say that I found my soulmate. I know many people on Instagram, they pay money to find who their soulmate is. I'm like, come on, dude. You need an application for that? Seriously?
There's dating apps. Just use one of those. It's going to have the same effect. You won't find your soulmate. Whatever you're looking for, you won't find it.
And if you, the beauty about soulmates, or I will not call it soulmates, I'll just say spiritual connection. Okay, let's keep it simple. If you say about spiritual connection, the beauty about it is who you are seeking, somewhere down the line, wherever that person is, they too are seeking you subconsciously. You see, and then there is this connection. Connection is already established. So connection is already either established before your birth because of the past life thing, or it gets re-established here in this life, and then you try to recall all your connections of your past life, and you understand the merger of the soul. That is on a very different level altogether, you see. So you can call that soulmate in that sense, but of course it's not like how it is presented in the market, like soulmate is this and soulmate is that. And some people say I am an old soul. Dude, all souls are old souls.
Yeah.
All souls are old souls because we all are part of the eternal source, right? And this is what I really hate about this new age spirituality. They create this specialization. Oh, I am the old soul, I know about it, you don't know about it. I'm like, cut the crap. It's like everybody is an old soul. We all come from the same source. You are not exclusive. You see, that's when
Yeah.
spirituality also becomes like a cult, like a religion.
Mhm.
You see, so religion and all those things make you feel exclusive. Spirituality makes you feel inclusive. That inclusivity is a natural form of everybody's soul. You see, you feel that belongingness, you feel oneness. See, and then there is certain aspects of certain soul. In India we call it tattva means elements. So you connect with elements. What I was trying to say is that even those ancient civilization, they used to connect with the elements. You see, that's why whenever those traditional ceremonies happen, they involve this fire element or water element or other five elements in the marriage ceremony. If you look at it, some aspect of those elements will be there. You know, so let's say, for example, in today's example, when a guy gets married to a girl in church, they put the holy water, for example. So water is an element, right? Then they threw rice. So rice is again cooked with fire element. So I'm just giving you an example. I'm just saying. So similarly, in India, when they get married, so the fire element is there in the marriage.
Right.
So there are many elements basically, and why do they do that? Is because as a soul, you have all the elements. Everybody has all the elements, but there will be some elements in your nature of your soul in this life, which is predominant. You see, and that particular element is predominant because it resonates with what you are here and why you are here at first place. You see, so people often say, I want to find the purpose of my life and all of that. Well, one of the purpose of your life is to find the spiritual connects and connect with them. That is the ideal purpose of life for anybody. As a child, we all knew it. You see, have you ever seen kids playing around, like in third grade or second grade? When they play, they try to connect with their fellows, with their classmates or anybody, and they literally, like supposedly if they are playing in grass, where there are trees and plants and everything, they literally connect with plants. Have you ever observed that? It's not
Yeah.
like us. It's not like the so-called mature grown-ups. They do connect with them, but we, on the other hand, we don't connect. We'll be like, okay, that's a grass and it's creating a mess over here, let's cut it off, chop it off.
Yeah.
Right.
Or they look at it in a garden, but they don't touch anything.
Yeah.
I joined a garden here recently, and I make it a point to touch things, but I see
Yes.
other people walking through like they're in a museum, just walking through like it's
It's
an art museum and you're not supposed to touch things.
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. So people have become insensitive, right? So this is more about sensitivity. So there are things known as, see, when we go into traditional soul connections and soul marriages, what we known as Atma Viva in India, we call it Atma Viva, means soul marriages. So you connect, you got a person connected with soul connection, and then they get married, for example. Marriage is not necessarily the wedding that we speak of, which includes the selfies and all of that. No, not that type of wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about the real wedding, the real marriage. And then what happens is, the ideal purpose of that marriage basically is to produce uh, the kids, the kids of high consciousness. Because when you yourself are in alignment with the purpose and with the soul connection, okay, so the output of that copulation will not be uh, a kid which is traumatized, right? You will not be passing on your traumas to your kids,
Oh
right?
yeah.
because you are in alignment with with whatever you are supposed to be at first place.
Right.
As simple as that. Then besides that, there are beings who meet you, who are not physically with you, but then they can still be your soulmates, or what you call soul connects. You know, they don't need to be physically there with you. They can astral travel and meet you all the time, or you can be meeting them all the time. You may never know. Sometimes you may not even know, right?
Yeah.
So, so that is what we call as soul marriage, or some people call it soul sex. Because what is sex? If you understand sex also, right, what exactly it is two things becoming one, right? It is that urge to become one with with whatever, so in that case, sensuality, if you look at it, is that, right? You look at the flower, you admire the beauty, you so want to become one with it, but you don't pluck it off, right? You just admire the beauty of it. So that is a difference, I think. And then of course, in India and in different tradition, there are these things known as tantric sex, which is very often misunderstood in Western world right now.
Oh yeah, of course. We
Yeah,
misinterpret a lot over here.
yeah. No, I mean, I see, I'm not trying to paint Western culture in bad this thing, but I'm just saying that they misunderstood the whole thing, basically.
Yeah, no, totally.
uh, the real essence of that also is the same. It's the spiritual connection, ideally. Because what happens is, and I'll tell you what the actual other reason behind it is, as a purpose of your life. So you spiritually connect with the person, and then you merge your consciousness with that person, right? Not only the consciousness, if at all you meet them physically, you physically merge, or what you call as intercourse, right? Not necessarily, see, sex, like I said, is just one person in that whole relationship. Okay, so when that person meets, you know um, the merging part is such that you dissolve all your earlier runanubandhan that we just spoke of. You resolve it rather than building more, you see. So you resolve not only of this life but your past lives, and also of your ancestors. And in that moment of love, or whatever you want to call it, right, in that moment of expression, you are helping the other person, okay, your lover, to increase their awareness, and also you can travel in multidimensional reality simultaneously. So that is how ancient people used to do. If you look at the tribal people, for example, right, they didn't had this concept of marriage at all.
Right.
They will just connect with each other, copulate, and they'll be having kids, and they'll be like, okay, this is your kid, whatever, anybody's kid, it's our kid, okay, let's just put it like that.
Yeah,
Right?
feed all the kids at once, Yeah.
It's community's kid, right? It's all the same. But jokes apart, it
Right.
was like that, right? It was on a very sacred thing rather than just on a surface level. So all these things, soulmates, twin flames, they're all fancy names, actually. But in the end, it all boils down to a spiritual connection again. And if you spiritually connect with somebody, definitely you will definitely slowly be, it will be revealed to you what exactly is the purpose of that connection, gradually, you see. So that's how it is.
Right. And on that note, I've had an experience, but I've had two experiences. And
Oh.
I'm not sure if they're connected because they were actually about 2 or 3 days apart. But the difference between the two was, one, I was up walking around waking. And the second
Okay.
one, I was asleep. So
Okay.
first context, I had gone to meet an individual that I knew online, and it was a friendly meeting. It was a friendly context, actually.
Okay.
And it had to do with the arts, and I was actually visiting my folks in Houston. So, so I took a little trip to downtown Houston, and it was great. And then later on, I met this individual in person. We were just talking, having a good time, and I saw some performances. And then when at the end of the night, I went to hug this person. Well, they went to hug me. Like all of a sudden, I felt something within me leap up and out, like trying to leap into the person. And it was like an animal sort of a feeling, but like light, like animal, you know, the leaping was like an animal quality, but it was like light, the best way I could describe it. And it was very fast. And in that moment, my consciousness was like, no, 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 get back here, get back here. Like that was the feeling. I was like trying to pull this thing back. And the thing, whatever it was, it had this playful energy, like, no, I don't wanna. And it was me just like fighting this thing in that moment. But it was all positive. It was just strange. You know, and this isn't something you can ever tell a shrink about. Like, I've told other people, but like, you know, and like, long story short, I'm still in touch with the individual. Like, we had some business things going on. Great person, but like, never experienced anything like that before or since. Now, the thing that happened 2 days later, I was just, well, I sleep very well when I'm in Houston. I'll say that. I sleep deeper there than I do in New York or any other city because it's so quiet. And maybe it has something to do with where I grew up. But I was in some really deep sleep that night, really deep. And I had an experience that felt like emerging with another being, not physical, but had almost a physical quality to it. It was like just pure happiness. And then I suddenly woke up and I was like, was that astral sex? What was that? The thing is, I couldn't see anything in that. I don't want to call it a dream because I couldn't see. It was all feeling. So I have no idea what exactly I was merging with, but
how did you feel when it was happening? Like, were you uncomfortable or how was it? Like,
very positive, completely comfortable, completely happy.
Okay.
Just, like, and I don't even think I had any dreams before it. You know, I was just out cold. And then that happened towards morning. And then I woke up and I was like, wait a minute, what was that? You know, I had to process that. And
right.
And I was like, I wonder if these two incidents are connected in any way, but I don't think they necessarily are. But I think that the first one opened me to something else to happen. So that's what I really feel like that was.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. But you know, like I said, in the detailed manner, if you look at it, ideally it is supposed to be two ways. In the sense, you will gradually know who that being is, or what that being is, and then it will be mutual rather than just one-sided. Like right now, you just know, but you don't know who the being is, right? In that sense, right? So, but here, when we speak about in human world, you know, you have certain beings who are connected spiritually with you, and that's when it's a two-way thing again, like I said, right? But yeah, I totally agree with you. Till the time it is all comfortable and it is all peaceful, it's good. But if it makes you uncomfortable, and you know, if you feel that something is imposing something on yourself, then it's something else. It's not a you know
that was the first thought I had, was like, okay, well, I'm sure this was a good thing because I didn't have any weird feeling. It was just a surprise because that's the last thing I expected, you know.
Right.
I was like, let me just sleep for 10 hours, and then that's what happened.
So if you read about Lemurians and all the other, you know, other earlier beings which were there, they used to be all telepathic. You know, there was no need for language also, right? And they used to communicate with all the beings. So I mean, if you look at certain scriptures, like ancient scriptures of India, for example, Ramayana, right? All the vehicles that they used to fly in air, those planes, if you may will, or those flying objects, where you know, the velocity of it was determined by our thoughts. It was that advanced. It was that advanced, you know. So
I believe it. I do.
But then, yeah, like, see, it's all the part of human consciousness. So human consciousness deteriorated, and that's what we are right now. And now coronavirus is here to remind human beings about what we are supposed to be originally. That, in spite of all of that, it's kind of a push to human beings. It's a reminder that life is temporary. You must stay in present, right? And you must
Exactly.
you must you must do what your sole purpose is, rather than just making money and jumping around and humping around.
Yeah.
So one thing about this the spiritual connection is, like, say for example, you are connected with somebody from your past life. Okay, now there are possibilities that you may be her this person's husband or wife, or this person's mother, or this person's daughter, or brother or sister, or any other relationship, or just be
Mhm.
a boss, or any type of relationship. That is one type of possibility. But then there is another type of spiritual connection which is consistent throughout the lives. It could be like your mother and son, or your mother and daughter, or father and son, something like that, throughout different lives,
Oh,
or your husband and wife, or boyfriend girlfriend, throughout different lives, or lovers rather, right? Now those type of connection, when you come across in real life, in this life, in this 3D environment, normally what happens is you trigger the opposite person. So the other person who is a spiritual connect, he or she knows that you are the spiritual connect actually, but they don't want to admit it because of their parental and the other patterns that are there, you see, and it gets triggered. So
yeah.
so the information of those lives is triggering certain things in their DNA, but the brain is not able to process. So the brain thinks that this guy is weird. I better stay away from this person. That's what they feel for the spiritual connection. So that is the initial part of it. The later part of it is, of course, when they go through this thing known as the dark night of the soul, right? The spiritual suffering, or the existential suffering. It's the worst suffering. You cannot express it in words. You see, it's like you cry without reason. You die without reason. You die internally, actually.
Yeah.
You feel like
Yeah.
dying every day.
Pretty sure I've experienced that. Yeah.
The dark night of the soul, the dark night of the soul, right? So it's a and it happens. It happens. It's a good thing for awakening also, right? So all these spiritual connections, not necessarily are there, they are there from the past life, but most of them are connected from past lives. It's like that, right? So that is with the spiritual connection. And when they meet in reality, most of the time there is a rejection, there is a kind of turbulence in that relationship, or some kind of retaliation, or some kind of rebel, not rebel, sorry, some kind of what do you call it, repels, you know and
So
then there is.
basically, that's how the whole myth about twin flame and then the runner and the chaser. That's how that whole myth got started. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely, absolutely. Twin flame thing is again the same thing. Like they are trying to portray, or they are trying to express it. In when you try to express certain things in language, then you don't have words, right? Which makes sense. So twin flame is such a concept, but there it's pretty much true to some level, but then it's not absolutely true. Okay, because like I said, it's not that one soul is meant for another soul. It's not like that. All souls are meant for all souls. Okay, we all come from the same source, but it is just that some souls share information, such information which is carried in throughout many life or lifetimes, and there is a purpose why you are supposed to be there together, right? So that
Yeah.
purpose is the it all boils down to the purpose. What is the purpose, and how are you going to fulfill that purpose in this life? It's not always necessary that you end up loving each other and getting married to each other, right? It's not always possible.
Right.
Then how will you fulfill the purpose? So that is something
Yeah.
that every individual soul has to discover, you see. So that's about soulmates.